Group B continues. So guys, again, new patch is out, and these are the first tournament games that we have on the new patch. The matches in Group B of the Eternal Conflict tournament. 1,500 euros are on the line for the teams. We have 10 teams in total, 2 groups, and the top teams will advance to the playoffs. Now we go in the winner bracket into the series, a best of 3 series, between Exodia, Light, and Team Gonen. So the Swedish team with Wooby, Breeze, even Smexy is back, and Zelia. So it should be pretty awesome to see them go up against Exodia Light now. They already played one match though, and it was actually insanely close. It was really interesting to see. And this is all now happening with the new patch. Now we're going to go over a lot of the changes that are in the new patch and how they are going to play out. Since this is the first tournament where we also have those changes, it is still noteworthy to remind people that while we are getting data now and a bit of an idea of how the adjustments are going to be like, what teams prioritize, what they don't, how they are adjusting their own game style, it's also worth pointing out that we are in the early stages of a group, so there will be skill discrepancies between teams, and teams are still figuring all of this out as they go too. There are a couple of scrims that are obviously happening as they prepare for a tournament, but at the end of the day, this isn't the days of HGC anymore where you have plays of like 8 to 12 or more hours every single day, so it's going to take a bit for them to also adjust to it. But Blizzard has introduced a lot of pretty important changes, not only on specific maps and heroes, but more importantly, general changes to the game itself. For example, experience globes now disappear a lot faster, which means that it's much more important for you to have a presence on the lane and soak that lane experience. You can't just simply go for bad rotations. It's a little bit more like the game was in the days of HGC when we had no experience globes in the first place. So it's more of a hybrid approach right now. And it will play a role. If you are a team that is very bad at soaking XP, you are going to fall behind if you're up against an opponent that is exploiting that particular aspect a lot. So we're going to talk about a lot of the changes. We're going to Infernal Shrines now, where Punishers can also not be baited over the wall anymore. So generally the objective is now a little bit stronger, especially in the early stages of the game. When it comes to hero priorities, we haven't seen anything too crazy happen just yet. So it's not that all of a sudden Asmodan has been picked every single game, or Gazlo. But we have already seen some adjustments. Dehaka has been picked fairly regularly. Globals are of course strong because they give you extra time on lanes and can join a fight late. Dehaka has essentially been a part of every single game so far, mostly picked now for the first time banned, as Copenhagen decides to go for Blaze. We have Deckard Kane and we got Cassia. And over on the side of Team Gonen, Malfurion, Tyrael, Wooby again on Urel, has been playing a lot of Urel here. And we get Asi on Hanzo. Breeze now for the first time, at least today, on Tyrael. Smexy has been playing Malfurion before, but we've also seen him on Karazim, for example. And, well, time will tell what exactly Zelia is going to pick, but he's been on mobile assassins more so than anything else. So, with that done, over on the left side, what are we getting for Exodia Light? It's their first series. We get Imperious and we get Varian. So triple front line for the team around Masquerade here on the main tank position. This is a best of 3. There are no draft restrictions. Later on in the group, similar to Group A, we will have best of 5 matches. But at least on the first day, it's all best of 3 games that we're going to get. And for our first map, last but not least, we get... Ooh, Kel'Thas! Okay! Didn't expect that. Kel'Thas in game number 1 for Team Gonen. Let's go, everybody. It's Infernal Shrines. We're on the new patch, the Eternal Conflict Tournament. The blue team, Exodia Light, on the left side of our first map in the best of 3 with Hazops on Cassia. We got Copenhagen on Blaze. Bloodcool is playing Imperious. Yazu on Deckard Kane, and Masquerade is playing Varian. Over on the right side of the map, it's Team Gonen with Wooby on Urel. We have the Swedes with Asi on Hanzo. Breeze is playing Tyrael. Smexy on Malfurion, and Zelia is going full Kel'Thas here in game number 1 of the series as we are starting things off. So as already talked about earlier, lots of changes with the new patch. The biggest ones in general we talked a bit about experience globes, that now they disappear so much faster, and that it's really worth for teams to stay on lane, which is actually pretty huge. So yeah, well, again, you want to spend your time on the lane. You need cleaner rotations. You can't just go for those sloppy moves between lanes any longer that were still possible previously, because you had those small XP globes that would still give you some experience, so that's completely gone right now. But the other changes are essentially all centered around structures and also around how to push. So if you are in range, if you're auto-attacking structures of your opponent, your own minions will now be inspired, which means a 35% increase in attack speed and a 35% movement speed increase for 3 seconds. So if a hero is able to push alone on a lane, that's going to be great for them. Also talking about great, we have fireworks here right from the get-go. Blaze is down, Kelthas is down. Even Azzy on Hanzo nearly got destroyed, but the teams are trading kills here. But yeah, not bad. So it should be interesting to see how much these solo lane pushers are going to be able to do. Again, if you have a hero and you're attacking opponent structures with auto attacks, your own minions get inspired, so you can do more damage there. In addition to all of that, we have now also a priority change from structures. They're not defending players any longer the way that they did before. So if you are underneath one of your keeps or forts, or even the core, and an opponent dives you, and not getting automatically attacked, the priority is not shifting directly to them any longer. Instead, within that circle that you now see around forts, you will get an armor boost for a short period of time, but this is also only on a cooldown, and it's only for a single player in that small radius per structure. So it's definitely easier to jump on these structures right now and start attacking. But there are a couple of... Ooh, careful. Whoopee in the corner, and no way. No way. He actually gets away from this. And they're still losing the camp, but that was massive. So with the Inspire buff and also the change on the priority for forts, you can imagine that teams will very likely be a bit more aggressive around these forts, trying to dive opponents that they feel are easy prey, and then pushing like they do here. So Inspire kicks in, you see the animation with the fire around the minions as they're getting more damage, so that's something that will help to accelerate the game a little bit. The same is also true on certain maps where the objective has now been spawned. Blizzard is kind of offsetting this a bit to not decrease the game length too much by buffing the general structure health by 12.5%. So there's a lot of changes really that we'll talk about it as these games unfold, but they've done a lot. And now with the first objective popping up here, it's also worth reminding everybody that you cannot bait a Punisher over a wall anymore. So you can't make them jump over gates any longer. And that will, at least for the first few objectives, typically lead to the team that gets the objective dealing more damage to the opponent's structures. For now, there's a lot of AoE happening. There were more changes that were implemented on Infernal Shrines, centering around the minions, the Shrine minions. They are now a little bit easier to take down with normal attacks, a little bit harder to take down when you're using just big AoE abilities. So generally, is that going to make a massive difference? Probably not. The biggest one, at least I would assume, will be the Punisher jumps, and we already saw that in action in the previous Best of 3 series here in Group B of the Eternal Conflict. Arcane Punisher this time for Exodia Light. And, well, there's the jump straight towards the wall. And now with the inspired minions behind them, thanks to all of the attacks that we're getting, this should help them to break through the wall very quickly. And then it's just a matter of how much damage can you do to the fort itself, as we have, of course, a 4-man defense now going on. Jump still. 5-man defense now with Urel coming in. And the Punisher is being defeated, so the fort is still losing a lot of HP. Minions inspired for a while, and that's 50% of the hit points gone. But solid defense, so more damage that you would typically expect from a Punisher in this situation. Not by much, but you can still take a fort out depending on your own combo. How much push power you have, how much damage you can get in, how many heroes your opponent is setting up to defend. In this case, we saw a full rotation towards the fort to save it. If you only leave 3 of your heroes around, there's a good chance that you're losing the fort in the first place. The attack against Azzy. Of course, Taunt is now out, already used. Yeah, they're trying to get the kill, and they do. Hanzo is gone. Hanzo is eliminated. So, nicely done. Top of that, we get Purge Evil now for Tyria. Could be a very aggressive play from Breeze as this continues. We have minions waves, by the way, now spawning exactly at the 30-second mark and the full minute. So at a half minute and at the full minute, the minions are gonna spawn. Slightly different from what we had before, every 30 seconds and always at the full and half minute. Makes it a little bit easier for heroes that are playing around certain abilities. I mean, the standout hero, of course, there are others, but the standout would be Ragnaros with Lava Wave, so that he can properly time everything and make sure that you get the maximum amount of minions on the lane destroyed. Level 10 is already in for Exodia Light. We have heroic abilities kicking in for Team Gornan in a moment as well. And we're going to see what Breeze is going to choose. Yep, Tyrael goes Judgment, and he can combo that off with an arrow from Hanzo. Push into the middle now as well, as they're starting to try and make another play for that fort. Obviously, we've got an Ardent Defender here for Tyrael. I, by the way, expect that a few of the teams that we haven't seen so far yet will be more willing to experiment with out-of-the-box heroes when it comes to their choices. We've seen Asmodan played in Group A, and also Cho'Gall. There are arguments to be made that not only Asmodan, but others might be more impactful with the new changes. So most of the teams that we've seen so far have more or less played it safe, but I think there will be a lot of experimenting going on over the next couple of days and weeks as teams are getting more comfortable with the patch, as they are also bringing in new ideas and try and see if they can exploit certain things. So it should definitely shake things up more than it has already. Most of them will still experiment and try and get a good idea of what the patch is all about first. Now, right now the next shrine is activating, which means that teams are again making their moves for the shaman camps. It's kind of important to point out that we don't have any globals in this game. Actually, now that I think about it, here in Group B, this is the first time that we have a game without a single global. So that changes things a bit. Frozen Punisher, blue team has taken the lead. Where the poke from outside is happening as Masquerade with a triple front line that the blue team is playing is looking for targets again. You can always follow a taunt up with a nice lunge and stun from Imperius. And try to do exactly that. Arrow comes out, nice damage, and the bunker to save Copenhagen. Yeah, trying to burn some cooldowns here too. But it's 30 stacks already for Exodia Light, and they are likely going to get it. Now that they have the Valkyrie kill against Malfurion, they are pretty much guaranteed to get the objective. Frozen Punisher in their hands, and Breeze gets killed. That's 2 down. Zelia gets attacked next, gets slowed down, and if they can get a kill here with Copenhagen flanking in from the side and solidifying the situation, sealing the deal against Kel'Thas, seems like this push is going to be pretty brutal against Team Gornan. They're losing too much here. In comes Azzy, he's trying to jump out. Wubi has moved towards the top. They're absolutely abandoning the bottom of the map, and now we have a Punisher push with full Inspire here on the entire minion wave. So this is going to help them to take down structures very, very heavily. And topside, for example, we have Bloodcool now taking advantage of the Inspire mechanic as well. There's not too much left of that minion wave, but it still results in the fort being dropped down to 50% of its HP. In the middle, this one is already taken out. So very nice rotation, and with the numbers advantage that they were running on the map, Exodia Light is doing work. Yeah, another arrow actually against Blaze, but it doesn't matter. Urel still dies. Doesn't have an ult there any longer, and once again, with no defender there, it's an easy fort for Exodia Light. They move in, have the heroes already present, and then of course, again on top of that, the extra 35% attack speed and movement speed for the minion wave as they are triggering Inspire by attacking the structures are making a big dent here. And this is all happening in the context of structures now having increased health. I pointed it out before, by 12.5%, but it still easily allows them to take these out. So all of the forts are now gone on the back of those 6 kills that the team was able to get for themselves. By now, we're having more camps claimed, and we can take a look at the experience distribution here. As you can see, minion experience, the red team is still ahead despite everything else that happened. But mercenary and hero experience, this is really a huge difference, and this is what the blue team is currently exploiting. Now, thanks to them taking out those outer structures, this is of course also going to boost the passive experience increase that they're getting from here on out. The structure XP is also playing a role. It's more than a 1.5 level gap between the two of them now. But a lot of this is really coming just through kills, through the mercenaries that they were able to get from the beginning of the game. And the blue team just playing to their strengths here and to the strengths of the composition. They have 3 frontliners that all can stack CC against the opponent. And they've done that several times to get kills and win team fights. So that one did well. By now, we're having, again, the attack in the middle. Mercenary camps, there's 2 of them. Oh, Yrel has to pop the old judgment, and Blaze is gone, and so is Imperious. Well done. Really nice CC chains all of a sudden from the blue team, and that helps them to bring this back a bit. They still don't have level 16, of course, but this helps. Nice kill for Masquerade, as he is at least able to take the Space Goat out. But yeah, that was pretty neat. That was definitely a net positive for Team Gonen. Not only able to stop that push, but also net themselves a lot of XP. They still have to take down the push at the bot lane, specifically of course the catapult here. The keep has taken some damage. But that was a very nice step into the right direction for the red team, for the Swedes. 21,000 damage for Breeze. Top damage dealer for the red team currently. With 32,000 for Cassia. So yeah, she is leading the charge here. Next objective is kicking in, and this is a pretty important one for Team Gonen. Now the Swedes don't have a fort on that lane any longer, which means that they also don't have a fountain, obviously. The blue team is still running one, so they can always fall back and tap to get sustained. But at least it's 16 versus 16. That gives us for Zelia the Fury of the Sunwell, so they can poke a bit more from the outside. And yeah, Yrel is already ready. Here comes the stun chain, and Tyrael is gone. He sniffed Breeze out quickly, made the big play, and Tyrael gone is shutting down any ambitions that Team Gonen had to go for the objective here. Unless, of course, they can get a kill against Bloodcool, and well, the answer is no. 8 kills to 3. Just a little bit too dominant here from Exodia Light. And they're just, again, they're just like trying to limit the damage as much as they can. Blaze is the only one that is still on the objective, but they're gonna get this one for sure. There's just like no way to turn this around any longer. And the blue team is already matching the rotations here. They catch, oh my god, they catch Malfurion and just murder him. Smexy is dead again. Judgment, the arrow missing, but they still get the kill on Yasu. And also another ult, this time from Imperious against Zelia. And Zelia dies just as they take the Arcane down. Zelia is eliminated. Tyrael dies again. Breeze just came back and gets instantly farmed once more. They kill Cassia though, so job well done from Hanzo. It's a bit of a back and forth battle right now. But they're also catching Yrel, and as the dust finally settles, we have 12 kills to 5. And only Hanzo is still standing for Team Gonen. So that push at the top should do a lot. I mean, look at the backline minions. And Spire dishing out the extra damage. And they're just breaking through that wall with ease. Going straight for their keep now. So, yep, well done. Getting a bit more damage connected from those pretty quickly. Not too much left. And Asia has actually always poked from the side to take the minions out at least. But they still have to deal with the Punisher. There's not too many blue team heroes pushing here either. It's only 3, and with the defender's advantage and everybody is starting to respawn, the team decides to fall back, so the keep does not get destroyed, but it's still a significant amount of damage. And of course, another thing that really hurts the ambitions of the team on the right side of the map is the fact that we now have level 20 for Exodia Light. They pulled ahead in experience even further and have now Storm Talents that they can use to push even more. That comes in with a bot lane that is exposed, top lane the same, 2 levels ahead, so it's going to take them quite some time. Yeah, this is going to be a lot. But, as is, more camps to be claimed, more pressure on the lanes, pinning them down further and further. And Hanzo is still the only one defending at the top. I mean, the whole idea, obviously, for the red team is now to just simply sit on all of the lanes, get as much experience as they can, catch up as quickly as possible. In an ideal world, without losing a keep and before the next objective spawns. If you can pull that off, then you're pretty happy. But this is, of course, where Exodia Light is attempting to press their own advantage by just simply moving in and taking down the keep. Sieging up on it and pushing with everything they have. And that's exactly what they're currently doing here. Also, noteworthy, we talked a lot about this Inspire buff. This is for minions only. Catapults aren't really affected here, as we've seen so far. And neither are the minion waves. The one thing that I'm actually not 100% certain is if catapults are not affected because they were never in range or because they're just not able to receive the buff in the first place. Technically, you could see a situation, which we haven't had yet, where a catapult can be in range of a structure in the same range as a ranged minion, by, for example, getting pushed in by Urel or something else, and then getting that buff. But I don't know if that's technically possible. According to the description in the patch, it only doesn't affect mercenary camps and, well, it doesn't affect, summons and illusions. I would assume that it also doesn't affect mercenary camps, only minions that we're talking about. But there is, technically at least, a situation where a catapult could be close to the ranged minions and therefore be affected. I just don't know if it would. We haven't seen any of that yet in those games. If you have, you can let me know. I haven't seen it in any of my games just yet, but again, if you have a little bit of displacement happening through Junkrat, Urel, anyone else that pushes them closer, there is a situation in which it could, on a technical side, be in range, but I don't know if that's actually a thing. So level 20 is now available. One keep has been destroyed in the middle, as we've seen. And, yeah, we'll figure out if the red team has a chance to bring this one back here, of course, now. But if they want to make a play, they have to do it right now. So, party time. Off we go. Damage output, 46,000 for Hanzo so far. It's an Arcane Punisher this time. There's catapults amassing at the top lane already. It's pretty bad news for Team Gonen, considering that their own keep has already taken lots of damage topside. 7 kill difference between the two teams here. Lots of outside poke right now. And in comes Judgment. They try to unleash everything and they get the kill on Cassia. Cassia is gone. It's a work of art. CC all day, every day, with Judgment coming in with the damage from Kalthas, and they are able to get that kill. The extra stun from Hanzo, definitely working it. But now that the fight is breaking out, the top side keep is gone. Keep destroyed. What about the fight though? In comes Yasuo, came in from behind. Is that going to be enough? Doesn't seem like it will be. Instead, now they are lacking their healer because he will be chased down. If they want to kill him, they will kill him. Yasuo's going to try and waste their time as best as he can, but he is going to die eventually. Hanzo has fallen though, and the Arcane Punisher gets taken by Exodia Light. They're still able to claim the objective. So this is actually really weird now for Team Gonen. They have a few more heroes that they could technically kill. Deckard Cain is making his way back in, has never died here, so he actually eluded them. Whoopi is rushing away. The Punisher is moving in. The core has lost its shield already, and the Punisher is moving in too. Deckard finally falls, but the fight isn't over. Judgment is in, and Breeze is able to get a kill on Bloodcool. But the core is falling, and it's falling quickly. There's a double catapult right there, and the Punisher, and there's absolutely no way to stop this anymore. Exodia Light is pushing for it, and they will end game number 1. All they gotta do is right-click this. Urel is gone. Masquerade and Copenhagen are making their move. The shield is slowly recovering, but the Punisher is now back on track, and they are about to get another kill, aren't they? Well, maybe not. Kalthas is able to survive. The core doesn't, and that's the lead for the blue team. Exodia Light takes the victory on Infernal Shrines. GG. We're going to head straight into game number 2, but before we do, once again guys, if you enjoy the coverage on the channel here, if you enjoy the match, please like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. It also helps to boost the game to an even wider audience. And of course, it helps to get people back into Heroes of the Storm, as the algorithm recommends the videos to people that were interested in Heroes of the Storm in the past. So again, before we continue, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Appreciate it. And with that, we're heading straight into the second map of the series. Game number 2. So, Exodia Light has taken the lead and we're headed to Dragonshire. Also, guys, before we're going into the next tournament game here, a quick note, because it was a discussion on Twitch, it was also a discussion on Reddit. A lot of people are talking and judging the way that the patch currently impacts their games. And especially when we're talking about the public environment, when we're talking about Storm League, please keep in mind that most people that you currently play with have probably not even read the patch notes. So I would be very careful to judge if the patch was a net positive or net negative if you look at those games, because people, a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people, unless you're playing on the highest level with tournament players in your public games, a lot of people are approaching their games the same way that they have done before the patch. They play the same style, they play the same heroes, and they obviously get rolled because they need to adjust to what's happening on the other side. So I would wait a little bit. As I said, I personally believe that there is tons and tons of players that haven't even read the patch notes yet, not even talking about them adjusting their play style to what needs to be done right now. So while obviously this can be a bit frustrating, I would generally still wait a week or two more before we are talking about what's happening in the public environment. At least on the tournament level here, the games so far have been interesting. Very small sample size, obviously. We'll see how that changes as we're progressing through Group B and then go into the playoffs. But still something to keep in mind. Now, as we're heading into game number 2, we have Blaze and Diablo taken. The Haka and other globals are up and haven't been picked yet. So the priority for those globals has definitely been lowered. In the previous match, the previous series, we had one team prioritizing the Haka very, very highly. We have a ban, or we had a ban in game number 1. Could see the Haka banned once more, since Muradin and Genji were the heroes that led us off with. And now that Urel is banned, Wooby could very well and might actually go straight into the Haka play here. He's done it at least in the best of 3 series that was played before this one. I want to see if eventually we're going to get some more Falstad being played, if other teams that we've seen in Group B, for example, that are generally more willing to experiment with picks. I talked about Asmodan earlier, but if you're, for example, getting more Vikings at some point, you know, other stuff that can help you to really soak the lanes better, and what impact that has, if we're going to see a bit more Abathar and teams experimenting with that, we'll see. For now we get Zagara and we have Malfurion, so no side lane choice yet for Team Gonan. They need to win 2 in a row if they want to move on to the winner bracket final. If not, they find themselves in the losers bracket. Exodia Light obviously would love to finish this one with a 2-0, and they go for Chromie, and we get Thrall. So again, a triple front line for them. Zul for Wooby. Lots of wave clear, but no global impact as he would have had with the Haka. So let's go. Game number 2, everybody. We are going to Dragonshire. Dragonshire is map number 2, and we haven't had any big changes on the map per se. On the left, for the blue team, we now have Hazops and Chromie. We get Copenhagen on Blaze. Yasu's playing Rhaegar in the second map of the best of 3. Masquerade on Diablo. And Bloodcool on Thrall. Over on the right side, Team Gonan with Wooby on Zul. We have Azzy on Zagara. Breeze is playing Muradin. We got Smexy on Malfurion. And Zelia is playing Genji. Quick reminder that the mercenary camps also don't spawn at the 1 minute mark anymore. They're spawning now 30 seconds into the game, so you can much faster make either an invade happen on the opponent's camp or focus on your own. Zagara, down at the bottom of the map, even before we have a minion wave or anything, is starting to attack instantly and is getting some decent damage in, while the rest of the team is in the middle. And the blue team honestly isn't reacting to this whatsoever. There was obviously an attempt by Breeze and by Zelia to shut down any rotation towards the bot lane, but that was a very nice initial push from Zagara, and with lots and lots of value. Now, Zagara is going to try and get more damage in, if she can even enter... I mean, if she can land some auto attacks while the minion wave is pushing, that would be even better. Trigger the Inspire mechanic and help the push. Zul is rotating between lanes right now as we have the first few camps taken. Specifically, the blue team was very aggressive around it and instantly started to take their own bruiser camp, whereas Siege Giants are now the next focus. And Breeze and Zelia are already a bit active. But this is a little nice play. I like this. So this is something that hasn't really done a lot by itself, but Zelia just jumped in, attacked the wall once or twice, and therefore triggered the Inspire buff for the minion wave. It hasn't taken a tower down or a gate, but if you now imagine that a mobile hero like, I don't know, maybe Genji in this case, Suljin, Tracer, any others are using their mobility to jump in those scenarios and do that reliably throughout the game, it could really help to just generally boost the damage that you get and help you to slowly pull ahead. So Zagara was the first one to fall in the game. Thrall killed afterwards, so it's at least a kill for a kill here, with a lot of control now for Exodia Light as they are taking both of the shrines. Muradin is trying to retake at least the bottom of the map and is successful in doing so. But there is a camp that has now been claimed by the blue team, and they can try and use that to push through the bot lane, especially since they have also siege giants. So Zagara has now to attempt and push that back with the help of Malfurion and also Muradin. And Genji is still busy. I mean, Genji has the mobility, and he's essentially doing what I talked about earlier. He comes towards the middle to try and interrupt Thrall, but it's also attempting, of course, to push those lanes in further. All he's doing for now is buying some time. Zelia does do it really nicely, but eventually is going to run out of time and space here. So Bloodcool gets interrupted again. The red team is trying to take at the bottom and is able to deny the Dragon Knight to the blue team, at least for now. But there's a lot of pressure. Also, lots of pressure against Zul right now as he dies to Blaze. But Diablo also dropping very low here. So with 2 kills to 1 and now even more aggression from Exodia Light, the blue team is doing well. But at least they did until Diablo died. And now look at that push. This is where it gets tricky. Zagara and Malfurion are attacking right away. Inspire buff has been procced and has allowed them to do even more damage as they are finally pushed back. So these little pushes, they are starting to add up. They really do. There's still an experience lead for the blue team, so that's something. And as I said before, this push and the amount of damage that we're seeing on these structures all comes in the context of structures now being buffed. So structure health has been increased by 12.5% to offset some of these push abilities and more. Essentially what the patch forces you to do is to really react to any push your opponent sets up. You can't just simply ignore a hero that doesn't have a lot of damage by itself on a lane anymore to 5-man somewhere else. Because just the presence of that hero and the auto attacks against structures will trigger the Inspire buff and allow that hero to do more damage. So even if you have, let's say, Brightwing on a lane, who by itself doesn't have a lot of damage on structures, you should not make that a regular thing or you're going to suffer in the long run. Talking about suffering, Zagara is suffering a lot down here. With the ult already used by Chromie, she was essentially dead from that moment. But yeah, that was a quick kill right there. Thrall is working on his level 4 quest. 3 stacks by now. With that, we have topside. Yeah, Whoopi again being matched up against Copenhagen here and doing a pretty decent job with the wave and the camp that he had. The problem is that he might have retreated a little bit too late because once that... Yeah, well, there it is. I was about to say, once that Bloodcool connects that Wolf, it's going to be lights out for him, but that wasn't even needed because the jet propulsion, that did the job already. Now, the Wolf connected, gives another stack to Thrall, so of course he's going to lock that in, so that's nice. But with that, Breeze is getting pressured, he jumps out. It's level 10 finally, 4 kills to 2, 1 level advantage, more camps claimed. Exodia Light is doing a stellar job here, and once they have a Dragon Knight, which they should be able to lock in, given that they now have a level 10 advantage, they're going to push this even harder. Crest is also completed for Thrall, so all around good news for the blue team. And Draga is the one to get the first big battle axe here, with Zul dying at the top at the same time. So yeah, there is quite a bit of momentum coming in now for Exodia Light. And when we're looking at the experience distribution, Minion XP, they're ahead. Mercenary XP, they're ahead. Hero experience, massively ahead. And now they're also going to start to take some structures out soon, TM, at least you would assume so. Topside push. This is where we have Bloodcool all alone, gets a minion wave support in just a moment as the Dragon Knight is attempting to wreak havoc in the mid lane. And they are looking for the next kill and they take Zagara down. Zagara is eliminated and gets destroyed. Muradin sitting at the top as the fort has already been taken. Now we have Thrall back in the middle of the map and he's going to do some work there. But we're 6 minutes in now and it's a 1 level lead. First Dragon Knight has, I mean, by itself not done that much, but it pinned the team down in the mid lane and at the bottom, so the top lane could push more aggressively, and that's exactly where they got the value. The fort there is gone. Zul is now dealing with the situation at hand, but there is an slowly expanding lead for Exodia Light in game number 2. And to be fair, they came into this as the favorite in the first place. We have Chromie now with 15,000 damage. Genji is at 12,000. Again, the play against Muradin. And the wall stun from Masquerade seals it. Also a problem, of course, since we have Playmaker instead of Avatar, so not as much survivability for him. Here comes the barbecue play. Good damage from Diablo, the more, but Zagara is already dead, and now they're turning on Wooby on Zul, who dies once more. That's 3 heroes down, and it's a bit of a disaster here for Team Gonan. Exodia Light is really adjusting well here, and is now going for some aggressive plays. They're locking down Malfurion. Again, would really the prioritization of the shots from the fort have changed anything here as they're diving for Malfurion? I don't believe so. Either way, he dies. Now we have the aggression against the fort itself, and this one will fall. We have the Inspire mechanic kicking in. We have the camp itself that does a lot of work. And yeah, so far, it's a really clean game for Exodia Light. Very, very clean game. I mean, right now, that's 8 minutes in, 8 kills ahead. Breeze is getting attacked again. Zelia is moving away. They can't even go for own camp in this situation. With 2 forts gone, that means passive experience is also getting increased. So, well, as it stands, we have in XP also, with a 2-level gap, still a talent advantage. They have a level 13 talent. And I suppose the big threat is really the next Dragon Knight and the potential level 16 push together with it. Now, the strategy of Team Gonan is not working out so far. But as I said right at the beginning of the series, and even the one before, we also have to contextualize a bit of what we're seeing here, because Exodia Light is currently one of the main teams that people expect to at least reach the grand final of the playoffs or go far there. So that's something. And while we have a lot of heavy hitters just on the name side, or the name recognition side for Team Gonan, we also don't have nearly as much experience playing the game over the last couple of years, and practice right there. But obviously lots and lots of tournament experience that they could be using for their decision making, which we have actually seen in action, specifically in the first set that they played today. Now, Dragon Knight is back in. 11 kills to 2, 2-level gap. Can Gonan bring it back here? Now it's the mid lane fort that they're trying to take down, and we have a mercenary camp attacked at the same time. Dragon Knight, now that they have that camp, is slowly making a move towards the bottom of the map. Diablo still staying around here for that Inspire buff, of course. More damage on the fort because of it. Lasts 3 seconds, then you have to auto attack again. You have to refresh it earlier than that. And now at the bottom of the map, I mean, damn, double camp, double siege giant camp plus Dragon Knight. Nice play with the Dragon's Breath around the entire time. Diablo gets at least taken out, but the problem, of course, is that he had his soul stacks together and will be back soon. The fort in the middle has taken a lot of damage, and down at the bottom of the map, yes, the wall is gone. The keep will most likely not get damage, but the Dragon Knight is also going to be expiring soon, if they can take it down here. Yeah, double checking the bush even with the Dragon's Breath. I like it, playing the super safe. Thrall doesn't want to get kicked out of the Dragon Knight and instantly killed. I'm hoping to go for Azzy here. Couldn't quite pull that off. They can still play around with the Dragon's Breath and does that as we speak. But here comes the Stormbolt. Breeze wants him. Yeah. Can't get into a good position for his ult. But Wooby, he's caught again. And Wooby goes down. So, that means 26,000 damage now for Genji. We got 35,000 for Chromie. And yeah, that level 16 talent advantage that I talked about earlier is really doing work for Exodia Light. Now, we talked about experience, we talked about XP gains, and let's take another look at it. In minion experience, the two teams are both quite diligent. There's no big gap between them. It's really mercenary experience, where we now have more than double the XP gathered by the blue team. And then, of course, hero experience, thanks to the 9-kill advantage that they have. But if you look at passive experience, there's another huge chunk, and even the structure XP there. With 3 forts destroyed, this is of course a massive gap, and rightfully so. So the big question is now really, how is Team Gonan planning to bring this back? And I think the only way to do that is, oops, get level 16 for yourself, and then try and get a Dragonite. If they can do that, they might have a chance. But they need to take some structures out. They need to get some kills, they need to get XP. And instead what we're seeing is an attack against Breeze. Nice wall stun, ult from Chromie, and Muradin is gone. Genji is X-striking out. He was caught too, so has to use his ult cooldown. And right now, Exodia Light is just playing an incredibly clean game against the opponent. So yeah, they're playing a very, very strong game here. And of course, this is match point. If the blue team takes it, then they move on to the winner bracket final. And the team in blue would drop down into the losers bracket. The team in red would drop down into the losers bracket. So, Dragonite in the middle. Can they maybe make a play there? We'll see. As Blaze moves towards the top to get the channel. There's nobody that is interrupting him either. So, yeah. Time will tell. But down at the bottom or in the middle, as they can go for the Dragonite. We'll see if they can make a play for DK number 3, and they do. And the problem that I have, honestly, with this is that the red team isn't even defending against it. They had level 16 talents, and I guess they did, for some reason, not really want to fight this. But they should have tried to, because I don't see things going any better for them if they wait this out, and if they're buying themselves a little bit more time. It's now level 20 in just a few seconds, and the gap in experience has been widened. You're definitely going to lose your keep at the bottom. Even if you defend this now, where's the advantage? So I think this was the one shot that they really had, and now they're going to get absolutely decimated here. So 14 kills, 2-3, level 20, any second now. This bottom team is, in my opinion, absolutely doomed, even with Zagara dropping as much damage as she can here. And now that you have Storm talents against you, it's going to make things so much more difficult for you. There's a camp at the top pushing, which might be able to take the wall out, but I think this is probably where it ends. It's a 5 versus 4. They're playing around without the Dragonite for now. Not sure if they can siege up here, but they can definitely start to go for a few more pushes through the middle or somewhere else to try and eliminate a second keep. And it's a lot of experience to soak for Team Gonan to bring this back. Zul died 7 times, by the way. Whoopi got absolutely farmed so far. So, yeah, not too bad. But then again, either way, we're having all the way at the top, Blaze taking over, looking some experience in for himself. 2 levels still until 20. Masquerade, I mean, they're so deep. They're going for Zul immediately, and he shouldn't. Zul is actually buying time for that bot lane. I'm not sure what they were trying to do there, but the entire team was moving down to the bottom of the map. Might have expected somebody to be down there and try to gank up on him, but that's not the case. So they didn't accomplish anything here. They couldn't even set up a push with minions. Now, with Zul gone for the 8th time, the only one that hasn't died on the red team side is Xaylia. He had to jump out a few times with his X-Strike, but was able to escape every time. Zul himself, Grim Scythe, Harvest Vitality, Rapid Harvest, and Weaken. And it's not really working out for them. The idea obviously being to play around the wave clear that he offers. But here comes the siege in the middle. Another objective is also coming up next. And yeah, we'll see. At the top, for example, we have now Xaylia still gathering some experience for them. We are now at level 19 nearly. But it's still not going to be in time for the next objective. And that's one of the biggest problems. Huge gaps in experience here. Hero experience, mercenary experience. Passive, you name it. The only area where Team Gonan is doing well is minion XP. I mean, it's literally the only one. Yep, and here comes the next objective. And there's absolutely no way that they're going to get level 20 before. If they had a global, they could try and play around it a bit more. But here, not so much. I honestly wonder if with this, if we might see in the context of, let's say, a Meta Madness style tournament, or even a bounty tournament, if Nida Zagara would have a higher priority. In a standard draft, I don't really see it, But maybe Niagara Zagara would actually be a viable thing that you don't even have to incentivize with bounties. Now that these split bushes, if you can set them up, are quite helpful. But the Dragon Knight is in. And this is where they're going to try and end the game, of course. It's half a level for Team Gonen to soak. If they can defend here, then they actually have a 20 versus 20 setup that allows them to fight back. But that's going to be difficult. That's not going to be easy at all. So right now we got 15 kills, 2-3. And the attacks keep coming. Damage output is there. They're trying to go towards the core and take this one out. I'm not sure if they can though. I mean, Dragon Knight is down to 50% already. As long as nobody dies on the red team side, they have a chance. And right now, the shield is falling. More has been used. The Dragon Knight is not going to survive for too much longer. How quickly is that core going to fall? Right now, the answer is not quickly enough. Not at all, actually. Hasn't even taken any damage. So the defense is not too bad. Nicely done with the defense. In the middle, yeah, that keep is fully exposed. Top side, Genji, he's now dealing with this. And they did okay here. I am actually impressed. I did not think when the level 16 Dragon Knight happened, from the perspective of Team Gonen, I really thought it a bit odd that they didn't go for it and throw a bit of a Hail Mary. It was even talents and they just decided against it. And they defended. And they just thought apparently that until level 20 talents kick in, they won't be able to properly compete. Now they have, for example, Rewind that they can use. They have the Living Weapon here for the cooldown reduction. So they have a couple of tools available that they can utilize. But yeah, it's not too bad. Maybe now is the time to try and bring that game back. That would be an insane comeback if they can pull it off. So time will tell. But as is, the blue team has only been able to destroy one keep. Now, to be fair, they still have all their forts. But, of course, what really sets them apart is that keep that was eliminated in the bot lane that could allow Exodia Light with the Dragon Knight to go straight through that bot lane and go for the core to end the game. Team Gonen still needs to win a fight. They have only 3 kills. Only 3 in the entire game. We're now 19 minutes in. 52,000 damage for Zagara. 57,000 on Chromie. There's the Ancestral on Thrall. But the wall's done. And Whoopi gets killed. 9th time that Zul bites the dust. He's eliminated. And Smexy is, wow, actually getting away. Good for him. But the problem is that they don't have a healer anymore here. But they can go for Chromie and they take Azorps down. Genji dies too. First time that Zelia has fallen. Breeze is trying to get away. Smexy's on the run. Azzy's on the run. Objective is back up. It's a 3 versus 4. And with Muradin dying, there's only 2 heroes on the map for Team Gonen. Once again, Exodia Light just with the better performance in the team fight. It was much closer here. And Gonen locked in another kill, but it's just not enough here. And now Zagara gets chased, Malfurion gets chased, but it's all about the Dragon Knight at the 20-minute mark, and Blaze is already moving towards the middle to get the objective. So fantastic job here by Exodia Light. They are one of the favorites to make it not only to the playoffs, but also deep in the playoffs themselves, and so far fully justified here. Copenhagen is already moving away from this. Apparently want to have some camps too. They want all the camps from the looks of it. What is this? Puppy rules? Apparently we're going for public rules. Can't end the game until you've taken all the mercenary camps. Priorities, baby. So they're still ensuring that they can get the Dragon Knight. Vision everywhere. Know that nobody's sneaking around. So they wait for the camps and then they're going for the objective. That allows the red team to get all of their players back into the game. Would have been the case anyways. They would have gone up against a 5-man defense one way or another. But they're going through the middle. They're not... Oh, and they lose Diablo. Diablo is gone. The Ancestral saves Thrall, but this might not end the game. We're 21 minutes into the game now. Diablo will, of course, be back, so they have a little bit of time there. But that just put an interesting spin to it. 18 kills to 5, and they're not even trying to go for the core through the bot lane. They are working on more keeps instead. There's too much pressure against that Dragon Knight, and Exodia Light realizes that they might not have what it takes to take the core down in one fell swoop. So now we have the attack coming in at the bottom, at the mid lane. Bot lane pressure, on the other hand, is also pretty significant. That's thanks to the mercenary camp that was taken a second ago. And Zul had to rotate towards the top too, so the Dragon Knight is getting value in the middle after all. You also have, of course, the minions doing a bit of extra work here. Not all of them in range just yet for that Inspire buff, but they will soon come. More out, Hellgate being used, whoopee! And he's dead for the 10th time. Double-digit deaths now on Zul. They try and go for Muradin. He gets locked down by the root from the Wolf. Thrall with another big hit. And Breeze with a Haymaker survives. The Keep didn't, on the other hand. And they could technically still try and get more damage on the Keep at the top. The Catapult is still hammering away at it. Malfurion, though, is gonna... No way. No way. Okay, there we go. Malfurion is gonna die. Nice play by Smexy. I actually like this. Was a bit on the sneaky side, but he's gonna get killed. And yes, they're gonna find... They're gonna finish it. They got to. It's only 3 defenders up against 5. The Keep at the top is suffering. Rhaegar is now there. I don't know if this is really just the attempt to morally completely destroy Team Conan for the next match or what's going on here. But it seems that they really, like in any PUBG game, trying to go for all the mercenary camps and the structures first. So top side, that camp is going to take it out, or the minion wave is going to take it out with the Catapult. They're also trying to farm a few more kills, and it's absolutely brutal. I mean, Exodia Light is going through Team Conan here like hot butter through cheese. 23 kills to 5. We're 23 minutes into the game now. The core is the only structure still left standing, and this is going to be the end. Sundering right on top of it, and that's all she wrote. Team Conan gets dropped down into the losers bracket as Exodia Light moves on to the winner bracket final of Group B. Nicely done. GG and well played.